Prime Minister Scott Morrison says Australia Day should be embraced, warts and all, flagging a separate day to celebrate Indigenous culture and achievements. The discussion has been welcomed by some Indigenous Australians, but they say the truth about the nation's history still needs to be reckoned with.
A highly visible Prime Minister endearing himself to the working man.
So what are we up to today?
Scott Morrison spruiking his multi-billion-dollar planes and trains agenda and getting on the front foot over a divisive issue.
Australia Day is Australia Day, and that's the day all Australians come together.
Ruling out changing the date of the national holiday and flagging another day to celebrate Indigenous Australians instead.
I am open to a chat with the Australian people about how we can better acknowledge Indigenous Australians and our Indigenous peoples. You don't pretend your birthday was on a different day. What you do is you look at your whole life's experience.
But the scars of January 1788 run deep for many Indigenous Australians who regard the arrival of the First Fleet as Invasion Day. The Prime Minister today accused of being flippant.
What's beneath, what's the story behind that scar? This nation's success was built on First Peoples' suffering.
The recently appointed Special Envoy on Indigenous Affairs, Tony Abbott, offered a lukewarm assessment of the idea, phoning in to 2GB from the Northern Territory.
Really, I think the emphasis, and I'm sure this would be the Prime Minister's emphasis, is on all pulling together on Australia Day, being proud of what we've achieved.
Labor agrees Australia Day should remain on the 26th, but says the Prime Minister should have consulted Indigenous groups before announcing the plan in the media. The new holiday could fall during NAIDOC week in July,
in which we recognise the oldest continuing living culture.
Byron Bay Council has been stripped of its authority to conduct citizenship ceremonies after the Mayor moved Australia Day celebrations to another date.
If they want to use it as a political football, it's simple. We'll get someone else to do it.
The debate stirring up emotions months before Australia Day and exposing a lack of historical knowledge at a senior level of government.
The reality is that is when the course of our nation changed forever, when Captain Cook stepped ashore.
Captain Cook stepped ashore 18 years before the First Fleet and was already dead when it arrived. Hannah Sinclair, SBS World News.